truth to the society and to its leaders. True prophets are men and women that can look up to the eyes of anybody who is doing what is wrong and confront the person without bending down their eyes. True prophets are not materialistic, and they are not people you can buy their conscience. They are emotionally detached or separated from people that will manipulate them for anything. They actually stand for the purpose of God on earth, and they also present the needs of humanity to God. So they stand in between, and that means that they are there for the defense. For instance, the Bible says that Jesus Christ came into this world in order to redeem humanity from captivity. And if that is what Christ came for, to redeem us from captivity, for this purpose, the Son of God was made manifest.
Prophet, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
It's the same Bible.
Yes, sir.
It's the main textbook.
Yes, sir.
Romans 13, verses 1 to 3 says that the people who should submit to the governing authorities.
Yes.
Do you object to that section
No,
of the
you have
Bible?
to understand the context of that scriptures. What is the meaning? Why did that scripture? The scriptures there did not say we should cover the iniquity of leaders. But the scriptures there is saying, look here, you sustain institution by invoking the power of God. Now, anything that contravenes the constitution or the institution of God's word, you are meant to go against it. That's why Paul, the same Paul who gave that admonition, said in the book of Timothy, what did he say? He said, all scriptures is given for instruction, for admonition, for correction, for rebuke, and for righteousness. Okay, so what we are called for is to correct, is to exhort, is to lift up the standard of system and society for the benefit of the people. That's why you're a shepherd. You're a shepherd not to see the people go the wrong way. You're a shepherd in order to guide the people on the right path.
All right. Okay, great. And thank you so much, sir, for Dr. Bati is a Bible college scholar as well. He did not graduate, but he went to Bible college. But I wanted to ask you something yesterday, and I'm glad that one of the leaders of the protest is with us in the studio. Senator Adams Oshiomhole was with us yesterday, and he said that the protests had no leaders, had no people, no faces, and so it's good to see your face. But he also mentioned that it was about ending this government, not about poverty, and I want you to speak to that. Was that what you were agitating for in Jos? Were you trying to take out the president from office in terms of ending bad governance? And then if that's not the case, I'd like you to also speak to your statement where you said that the president and the National Assembly should stop living lavishly and be sensitive to the people. What would that look like? Was it reflected in the president's speech?
Let me bring you to this. I think this is one of the things that is really, really getting me hard and hot within me. I've observed in this country that we love to sit on the chair of deception and lies. And I'm being very frank with you. Most of the political class, I say most, and that means 90%, come to a stage where they feel they can lie on the people and deceive the people or manipulate the people. Now, let me give you this about this protest. I never knew there was even any plan by anybody. I was in Warri having my conference. I was on a national tour, and I was going from state to state by road. I want to see the state of the nation so that when we are praying, we know that we are praying specific issues. And I tell you the truth. I've never seen Nigerians in pain like the way I've seen them this time. I've never. When I confronted the former president, I confronted him because I told the nation. This time around, I went on a tour road, and I saw the state of the nation. I was in Warri. And God spoke to me to confront the government, to do things quickly and put things right. People are suffering. And there are things that just ordinary, let me use the word, ordinary mind should be able to tell you. I'm not well educated. But at least there are simple things that an ordinary person should know. Short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal. What do we do with the pain that we've thrown the people into? This president threw Nigerians into uncommon pain. People are eating grass. People are eating leaves.
So would you say that it was not about ending the government, but writing?
It will amaze you. Yeah, because it will amaze you to know this, that not one person has given 1 penny. Not one person has spoken to me. All my chapters across the country, when I called for the protest, I said, if the president do not act on alleviating the pain of Nigerians, we will get on the street. That was when, after that broadcast, a group of young people from Kano, Sokoto, Kaduna, Borno, and all of that, on the Twitter space, over 110,000. I got in there and I heard what the young men were discussing. And that was when I knew that Yes, the North is ready to bring about a change that has never been.
Over hunger
and the level of poverty and suffering in the land and insecurity.
Okay. Right. So you've said all of this, but let me put forward some positions, and I'm sure you can react to it like the government will have put forward. The government is now talking about the fact that foreign forces are trying to take over the nation, which is the Russian flags being peddled around. They are also talking about the fact that they have done a lot, like President Tinubu said. He has given this, he has given that, he has given 570 billion to the states and all of that. I'm sure if a government spokesperson, when you say people were eating grass, if a government spokesperson were here, it will be like, oh, vegetables is a form of grass. Probably that'll be their reaction. I'm just hazarding a guess. The government is now saying, where is my iniquity? And that's the last question I was asked. So where is the iniquity of President Tinubu? Can you show it to us?
Number one, I want to say that there's no any international. From what all I know, there's no.
But they've arrested some Polish people. We are saying, look at the Russian flags. Look at the Russian.
No, I'm going to come on the Russian. I'm going to come on the Russian.
They've arrested the tailor and all of that, and they are saying people are trying to take over the country.
No, there is no. I just gave you the background of mobilizing the nation for this.
There is none that you know of.
There is none. There is none that I know of. That's number one. Number two, the entire. Let me tell you, one of the days. On TikTok, they were having a meeting. There were over 1 million people in that space discussing the state of the nation, and they were all young people, no foreign. I tell you this, the entire protest you see, nobody has given a dime. In one of the days, I was just leading the protest.
There was a freeze account of some people. They said foreign influence money
came in. We don't know about that. It's so surprising to me to hear that people were donating with money and sending from abroad and all of that into Nigeria. In one of the protests, a young man came up the stage and took 5,000 and said he's donating to buy water. Another lady went and brought some bags of water. People were just bringing things. Another person, 1,000. I and my family, we were buying the drinks and the water. People were standing from 7 a.m. until 2 when I would dismiss them to go back home. I mean, nobody was crying of getting food because they said they are already...
How many people did you mobilize in Jos?
Oh, they were in there, tens of thousands.
Did you guys count them? Do you have a register of the people that came out?
And we didn't have the distance, but if you take something that spanned almost half a kilometer, that tells you the crowd.
You mobilize all of them?
Yes. We mobilize all of them.
The church mobilize all of them.
The church and the people. I mean, it's both Muslims and Christians. It will amaze you. The number of the Muslims, the wall of the religious divide that politicians have been using all these years has collapsed in northern Nigeria. The plateau you see, while the Muslims were having prayers, I would ask the Muslim brothers, okay, it's time for your prayer. And then the Christians will surround them and the Muslims will offer their prayer.
So who are these people carrying these flags? If you say they're not your people.
These people you see carrying these flags, let me tell you about the North. That's my place.
Okay.
One thing about the Northerners is that the Northerners, let me use the word, they are driven by an ideology. When something comes into them and they see it's working, they will tend to pick it up and run with it. Most of these things came from this recent Niger. They are seeing Niger as working because Nigerians are now going into Niger to seek for refuge. So they are seeing Niger, they are seeing Burkina Faso working. So they are now demanding, I will tell you the truth, they are now demanding that if the military rule can provide Niger
with a fence according to the constitution, the military, we can't afford to have an
yeah, but that is the level of the understanding of the people.
Prophet, 2 questions. The first is, tell us about the role of Solomon Dalong, because we were told that he was your partner in leading the protests in Plateau State. And then, secondly, the other question I wanted to ask you, respond specifically to President Tinubu's address. Are you satisfied with the address, or do you believe, like some other people who were involved, civil society groups who were involved, that the president was delivering beautiful nonsense, to quote Omoyele Sowore?
Let me, Mr. Chief Solomon Dalong is an amazing soul, I tell you. He's an amazing, amazing soul. I mean, he got to know about the broadcast and that I made in Warri. And when he got into these spaces, he discovered that the young people were discussing about that broadcast. And so that got him passionate about, okay, if this is it, he's going to be part of it. And I tell you, he has done a lot in shifting the minds of the Northerners majority of the northern youth from the violent part of protest to a peaceful part of protest. He's a great soul. Number two, he came out to apologize to the Nigerian people that I was part of a government. We promise you that this is what we're going to do. But I feel so bad that we did not deliver. And I'm sorry. And he apologized before the entire crowd. That is what leadership is all about. And I tell you, if we can have...
That's not Tinubu, that's Buhari.
Yes, that's Buhari. But he was part of the government. He was part of APC. This was what they promised, but this is what they brought on the people. So one thing with leadership is to own up your irresponsibility or your failure. Let me come to the presidential address. I mean, that was, to me, that was out of point. I was expecting, Mr. President, there is no protest that has given such a long notice like this protest. And I was expecting the president to come out, let me give you this, on 4 things, quickly. Number 1, my government, I have heard your cry. My government immediately will work on the subsidy, the reinstatement of the subsidy for the next 6 months. While we fix the CNG kits and what have you, the compatible centers across the nation. That's number 1 point. I'm giving directives that in the next 7 days, you can take me on ABC. All right? On agriculture, I am instructing the Minister of Agriculture immediately to deploy all the instruments that are required. Number 1, there are crops that you can grow them in 1 month. There are crops you can grow them in 60 days. There are crops you can grow them in 90 days. Cassava of 90 days, rice of 90 days, corn of 90 days, apart from the vegetables. Apart from the land where we are having issues with security, there are still land where people can cultivate, not GMO product, but our real agricultural plants or products. And so in the next 3 months, Nigerians, you can take me up. We're going to have this number of food supply. I am instructing the military and the armed forces to give a cover to farmers, to protect them in the farms. That is what we were expecting. I heard that fertilizers were released. Sir, I bought 450 plots of land in the city of Jos in order to distribute to families to farm this year. I bought a bag of fertilizer for 40,000. I never saw one fertilizer from the federal government. And they said 200 trucks.
Did you see rice?
I never saw anything.
Rice.
I know nothing was there.
All right. Okay. So let me come in, and this is really important.
So
the last 2.
Yeah, let me take you on the third one. The third one on the electricity tariff. This thing is biting hard on manufacturers and producers. And so what he needed to do is, okay, on the electricity tariff, we're withdrawing this tariff for this period of time. Until we get our acts together, then we're going to implement the electricity tariff. Number 4, what the president needed to do was quickly to instruct the armed forces to act on the state of security and then say, okay, we want 100 youths in every village, especially in the areas where we're having this insecurity issue. Because I want you to liaise with the 100 youths to secure this territory. That's all the president needed to do. Then number 5, on my cabinet, I am going to reject this cabinet. 85% of the members of the cabinet are non-functional. They are just wasting the resources. And the president needed to cut down on the cost of governance. For me, as the president of Nigeria, I'm cutting down on the total allowance. 50% of my allowance. It's not a poor man.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for outlining your demands and stating clearly some of the quick wins that the protest is hoping that the president would respond to. But I have 2 questions for you. The first one is that you say that this president has plunged us into poverty, but they would argue that it didn't start from now. Said a bad government. Right from the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, the economy was plunged into where we are today. And so they are just trying to mop up what they inherited. What would you say to this? Especially because you didn't protest during President Buhari's time. So why didn't you protest then when things were hard for Nigerians? And then in the first 1 year of the administration, you're protesting. That's one. The second aspect of the question is, are you getting support from the Christian community? You're a lone voice, at least at the moment, in terms of, but some people have said that, if more Christians and pastors spoke out like this, then maybe we might see the change because they have the ears in some parts of the government. They can speak to power directly. What do you have to say about those things?
Let me answer the second one. That's the office of the prophet. Sometimes the prophet do not go with the multitude. Sometimes you know that you're passionate about the state of the people and you go all out. Whether you have the support or you don't have the support, you don't wait for it. You declare the stand. Now, let me come back on the issue of the president is just 1
So
year.
you're getting support. So you're working on your own.
Oh, I'm getting support.
Okay.
I'm getting massive. You can see the Christian.
Are we looking forward to hearing more voices rise up?
I trust God for that.
Okay.
No,
Right.
this support is it in
No.
dollar terms?
Nothing.
Because we have some accounts.
Nothing.
I've been receiving
Not one
Prayers.
naira. They can check my account. My accounts are there. It's all run by my family. The accounts are there. Not one dime has come from
Are you
anybody.
mobilizing more Christian voices to come?
I'm mobilizing more Christian voices
And
Muslim voices, because right now I have a lot of sheikhs who have moved away from what they used to know and what they used to teach. Now they are ready to begin to teach the right thing. The affliction you see, the massive, let me use, response from the Al-Majri is because of the wrong teachings some of the Islamic scholars gave. And so now we are uprooting that.
Okay. So
Okay. Now the first question.
Of, this administration saying that they inherited
Let
a
me
bad
say this to
economy.
you. It's not Buhari's administration. The administration of Buhari is Buhari and Tinubu's administration. I can tell you that.
What, in the last 8 years?
Yes, because...